Very nice logo there. I like that. I have been sued by Midland, was just served on November 1. I contacted district court who told me they are not open to the public, but I could drop off my answer and put a self-addressed stamped envelope to get back my file copy. Okay, so first of all, very good to be proactive about this. And I'm not sure where you're located, but I will tell you this: in Alabama, where I practice, it really varies by county. I mean, a lot of counties are open, and well, let me say this: all the county courts are open, but some of the courts you can't go inside to what's called the clerk's office to file your answer. So what they're telling you though would work. You drop off your answer. I would give them 2 copies, okay, and just put a sticky note and say this one is to file, and then this one just write on there, please mail back to me, okay. And it sounds like they were going to do that anyway, so they wanted you to give them an envelope. But I would drop that off, and then if you don't hear from them in a couple days, I would just call them and say, hey, I just want to make sure, did you get my answer? Okay. You could also go ahead and send a copy to the other side. And generally you need to do that. At least in Alabama, you need to send a copy to the other side. And you could just explain to them, just type a little short letter. It says, hey, I dropped this off at the court. They said I couldn't go in, and they're mailing me back a copy, but I'm sending you guys one, and I'd send it certified, and I'd say, do not take a default judgment. Don't play any games like that. I'm filing my answer. I'm sending you a copy. Now make sure you don't do anything crazy with that. And hopefully that'll keep everybody honest, and then you can just proceed with your case. And again, congratulations for taking action and being very proactive about this. And let's see, in Kentucky, lives in Kentucky and have drafted requests for production of documents. So that's good. A request for production of documents is where you're asking the other side, hey, here's a list of all these documents I want. And as long as they're related to the lawsuit and your rules allow it, you have to check and see. I don't know if you're in sort of a small claims type of court. Generally there, you cannot get discovery. And let me just tell you what we do in Alabama. So we have small claims, absolutely no discovery in there. You cannot request any information from the other side. Under the state rules, now the FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, that's different. But we got small claims, then we have district court. In district court, with permission, you can serve discovery. So that's things like interrogatories, where you're asking questions in writing, and requests for production of document. And then our highest court is circuit court. So I'm not sure how it is in Kentucky. You want to just make sure that you're allowed to send discovery under your rules, and then make sure that you are kind of making that as tailored as possible to the lawsuit, so that when they go, no, we're not going to give you one scrap of paper, and then you go in front of the judge in what's called a motion to compel, you want that judge to look at your request for production and say, wow, those are really reasonable. And you're not asking for everything in the world. It's very narrow to this lawsuit. So hope that will be successful for you there. In the complaint, there's an affidavit from Midland legal specialist, a bill of sale, affidavit of sale, certificate of conformity, account info, caption 1 statement, and original Walmart statement. Okay, so let me just say this: if any of you guys are interested, you are welcome to, if you've been sued by Midland or LVMV or one of these debt buyers, if you want to send me the court documents. Now, I only practice in Alabama. Okay, let me just take a step back. So I'm licensed in Alabama. That's where I practice. Now, there are a number of times where lawyers in other states will say, hey, will you come get into a case with me in California or Georgia or wherever it may be? Now, we don't do that on these debt defense cases, okay? I mean, it doesn't make sense to, like, Midland sues you to have multiple lawyers involved. But if you're suing somebody, we certainly are willing, in the right case, to go to different states with lawyers. Or we have people from other states that say, hey, if I can sue in Alabama, I want to sue, portfolio recovery or Midland funding in Alabama. And that's totally fine as well. But I say all that to say this: if you have a collection type lawsuit or what is often called a debt defense case, you're welcome to send me the complaint, the affidavit, and if you want to like black out or I'll do it, your name and stuff like that. I'm happy to sort of take those and dissect those in a video. So this is pretty standard. What you've got, the affidavit will be from Midland saying we own this debt and you haven't paid, and you're not, active duty. You're not an infant, not an adult. The bill of sale is usually one piece of paper, and it'll be like a paragraph that says, Capital One has sold the accounts described in the, Exhibit 2 to Midland, and as set forth in the credit card purchase agreement. Now, that purchase agreement is what they never produce. At least I've never seen them produce that. That's the actual contract, okay? Usually the bill of sale will say it is an exhibit to the purchase agreement. And so we had a video a few weeks back on what's called the completeness doctrine. It's the idea that if you introduce a part of a document, the other side can make you put in the whole document. Well, they just want to put in this little piece of the purchase agreement. Well, let's put in the whole purchase agreement, okay? And then the certificate of conformity usually is something that's just saying that these documents are done accurately under the law. The account information, sometimes that's like a spreadsheet, sort of be turned sideways on a, what do you call that, landscape on a piece of paper, and they'll have it, or it might be just one document that says, here's the information about the account. So they'll have some statements on there. And what you want to do with that is, obviously get with a lawyer in Kentucky. I think, if I remember right, you're in Kentucky, and a consumer lawyer, see if they can help you with this. But if you're doing it on your own, you want to just like study everything. Okay. So sometimes you'll be tracing this and it'll say it was at Capital One, and then it was at Portfolio, and then it was at Midland. But all they produce is something from Capital One to Midland. It's like, well, what happened to Portfolio Recovery? Or you'll see the account numbers will change, or there'll just be something missing. So what I do, and I think I did a video on this maybe a few months ago. The title was something like, how to win with pen and paper. Okay. The idea is, and I'm illustrating this, with a notebook, but just kind of draw it out, and say, okay, I start here with this account and it goes to this company and then this company, and this person signed and that person signed. And there's not necessarily a magic way of doing it. You just look at it and say, does this look right? Because sometimes you'll find that like it'll go from original creditor to XYZ LLC. And then the company that sues you is XYZ Roman numeral 2 LLC. Well, how did it get from, XYZ LLC to XYZ Roman numeral 2 LLC? Okay. And well, they don't provide that. So there's a break in the chain. Like, how did it get from original creditor to this company and then just magically appears over here? And their argument will be, well, these are all the same companies, and don't get bogged down in details, Judge. And we got so many companies we can't keep track of. Well, no, if they're real companies, then they are actually separate companies. So I would just sort of study it and definitely, get with the lawyer in Kentucky, but then also study it yourself and kind of map it out and see if it makes sense.